The air in Manaus was a thick, oppressive blanket, the kind that steals your breath and clings to your skin with an unyielding embrace. Inside his cramped, rented studio, Dr. Elias Vance hunched over a large, brittle vellum map, its edges crumbling like ancient parchment, the ink so faded it was almost invisible. The relentless Amazonian rain, a symphony of drumming against the corrugated tin roof, was a constant companion to his thoughts. Elias, a man in his late 40s, whose lean frame and perpetually furrowed brow spoke of countless sleepless nights, traced a faint, almost ethereal symbol in the map's corner. A stylized jaguar head, barely discernible. This was it, the last, elusive piece of a puzzle that had consumed him for years. For over a decade, Elias had chased the whispers of an ancient civilization, a lost city deep within the untouched heart of the Amazon, a place that mainstream archaeology dismissed as pure myth, a fever dream of explorers past. His relentless research had led him to this very map, rumored to be a relic from a forgotten 17th-century Jesuit expedition. His peers had scoffed, branded him an academic pariah, but Elias saw beyond the skepticism. He saw a convergence, centuries-old folklore echoing with inexplicable satellite anomalies, and now this map, tantalizingly hinting at a place named Eldoria. He didn't just believe Eldoria was a legend, he was convinced it was a perfectly preserved city, swallowed whole by the voracious jungle and erased from human memory. His university funding was a rapidly dwindling trickle, his once stellar reputation teetering on the precipice of academic ruin. Yet Elias was driven by an unshakable conviction, an almost desperate hope. He knew this expedition was his final gamble, not just to validate a lifetime of relentless work, but to unearth a truth that could fundamentally redefine our understanding of pre-Columbian American history. He raised a chipped ceramic mug to his lips, the bitter coffee's aroma mingling with the damp, earthy scent that permeated everything in Manaus. Outside, the cacophony of the city began to fade, replaced by the relentless drumming of the rain and the imagined whispers of a forgotten world calling out to him. This was more than just a journey. This was a desperate quest into the unknown. Finding a reliable team in Manaus, especially for an endeavor as speculative as Elias's, proved to be a formidable challenge. He needed someone with intimate knowledge of the impenetrable jungle, someone resourceful, and crucially, someone who wouldn't immediately dismiss his theories as the ravings of a madman. His search eventually led him to Isabella Santos. Isabella was a force of nature, a woman whose slight stature belied an immense strength forged by years of navigating the Amazon. Her skin, tanned to a deep bronze by the relentless sun, and her eyes, as sharp and piercing as a harpy eagle's, missed nothing. She ran a small, struggling ecotourism business, but her true mastery lay in traversing the labyrinthine waterways and the impossibly dense foliage of the Amazon basin. Of course, she had heard of Elias, the crazy gringo archaeologist with his outlandish tales of lost civilizations. When he finally approached her, she was initially wary, her arms crossed defensively, a skeptical smirk playing on her lips. "Eldoria?" she'd scoffed, her voice laced with a playful cynicism. "More like delusion, Dr. Vance." But Elias, despite his academic awkwardness and a tendency to ramble, possessed a quiet intensity, an almost desperate earnestness that was hard to ignore. He meticulously unfolded the ancient map, pointing out the subtle topographical markers that, to his trained eye, eerily aligned with recent, unexplained satellite imagery. He spoke not of gold or personal glory, but of knowledge, of the profound significance of understanding, a lost way of life, a culture erased by time. Isabella, a supremely practical woman, saw the immediate potential for a substantial payout if this far-fetched idea, against all odds, proved true. More than that, she felt a deeper, unspoken pull, a chance to connect with her own land's ancient, hidden history. She agreed to join him, but with strict, non-negotiable conditions. She would be in charge of all logistics, ensuring their safety and the expedition's smooth operation. And, if at any point the dangers outweighed the potential rewards, she would pull them out, no questions asked. Elias, desperate and with no other viable options, readily agreed. The partnership was an uneasy one, forged out of mutual necessity and a shared, unspoken desire for something far beyond the ordinary. The expedition began with the guttural roar of a modified riverboat engine, its sound ripping through the heavy, early morning mist that clung to the surface of the Rio Negro. Elias, despite his years confined to dusty archives and lecture halls, felt an undeniable thrill of trepidation mixed with exhilarating anticipation as the familiar, chaotic urban sprawl of Manaus gradually receded, swallowed by the vast emerald expanse of the Amazon rainforest. The initial days blurred into a monotonous kaleidoscope of green. The mighty river narrowed, its current growing stronger and more unpredictable, and the air became even more oppressive, thick with the intoxicating scent of damp earth and exotic, unseen blossoms. Isabella, in her natural element, navigated the treacherous waterways with an almost intuitive grace, her knowledge of every eddy and hidden channel uncanny. She effortlessly pointed out jaguars lounging on distant riverbanks, capybaras swimming lazily through the murky waters, and vibrant macaws painting streaks of brilliant color across the endless sky. Elias, for his part, buried himself in his notes, meticulously comparing the ancient faded map with their advanced GPS readings, searching for any minute anomaly, any hint of the lost city. The jungle, however, was a master of deception, a living, breathing entity that guarded its secrets with an almost malicious cunning. It hid its treasures well. Each bend in the winding river looked indistinguishable from the last, the dense, unbroken canopy overhead forming an impenetrable, light-filtering ceiling. The initial surge of excitement began to slowly wane, replaced by a nagging, insidious doubt. Had he misinterpreted the map? Was this entire endeavor just another fruitless, wild goose chase, a testament to his own academic obsession? The relentless humidity sapped their energy, leaving them perpetually drained. The constant, maddening buzz of unseen insects was a ceaseless symphony of annoyance, and the ever-present threat of unseen dangers lurked in every shadow, a constant reminder of their vulnerability. They were moving deeper and deeper into the unknown, leaving behind all traces of modern civilization, venturing into a world that felt both ancient and indifferent. The sheer vastness of the jungle was at once breathtaking and terrifying, a monumental entity that seemed to actively test their resolve at every turn. Days bled into weeks, each one a grueling test of endurance. The team, now comprising Elias, Isabella, and two stoic local guides, was deep in genuinely uncharted territory, far beyond any known settlements or marked paths. The once wide river had dwindled to a narrow, winding stream, eventually forcing them to abandon the boat and continue their arduous journey on foot. The air in the dense undergrowth was stifling, heavy with the scent of decay and teeming with a relentless swarm of mosquitoes that seemed immune to repellent. Elias, his face etched with profound fatigue, was beginning to succumb to despair, the sheer physical and mental exhaustion wearing him down relentlessly. He stumbled over tangled roots, his clothes perpetually soaked with sweat, his once sharp mind clouded by doubt. Isabella, however, ever vigilant, her senses honed by years in the wilderness, noticed a subtle, almost imperceptible shift in the terrain beneath their feet. A series of unusually flat stones were embedded in the forest floor, arranged with an unnatural, almost perfect alignment. Her voice, usually calm and steady, was hushed with a new kind of intensity as she called Elias over. "Look, Elias, this isn't natural." Elias, roused from his slump, knelt down, his fingers brushing away decades of accumulated leaf litter and damp soil. Beneath the debris, a faint, almost invisible geometric pattern began to emerge on the surface of the stones. It wasn't just random rock formations. This was a deliberate, intricate arrangement, an unmistakable sign of ancient human intervention. His heart began to pound a frantic rhythm against his ribs. This wasn't on any known map, not even the one he carried like a sacred relic. It was too precise, too intricately designed for nature alone. A shiver, not of cold, but of profound realization ran down his spine. This was it. This was the first concrete evidence, a tangible, undeniable link to the civilization he had dared to dream existed. The gnawing frustration and weeks of doubt evaporated, replaced by a surge of pure adrenaline. They were on the right path, finally. The jungle, which had felt so hostile and indifferent, now seemed to whisper secrets, actively guiding them deeper into its mysterious, verdant embrace. Don't want to miss what happens next in the search for Eldoria? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you're always the first to know. The astonishing discovery of the meticulously laid stone pathway reinvigorated the entire team. With a renewed sense of purpose and a fresh surge of energy, they began the arduous task of meticulously clearing the path, layer by layer, revealing more of the intricate stonework beneath decades of accumulated jungle growth. The pathway wound its way deeper and deeper into the heart of the forest, eventually disappearing beneath the colossal, gnarled roots of ancient, towering trees. As they followed its winding course, the jungle seemed to thicken around them, the light dimming noticeably as the canopy overhead grew denser, creating an almost perpetual twilight on the forest floor. They began to encounter subtle yet unmistakable changes in the surrounding flora, plants that seemed oddly cultivated, clearly not growing wild, hinting at human influence. This wasn't just a haphazard trail, it was a carefully constructed, engineered route, unequivocally indicating a deliberate purpose and a specific destination. Elias and Isabella worked in perfect tandem, a seamless blend of intellect and intuition. Elias meticulously analyzed the patterns and unique characteristics of the stones, drawing on his vast archaeological knowledge, while Isabella, with her unparalleled jungle expertise, used her keen eye to predict the most likely course of the hidden road. The local guides, initially wary of what they perceived as spirit stones and ancient curses, became increasingly intrigued, their hushed conversations hinting at ancient legends and ancestral tales passed down through countless generations. The air grew heavy, not just with the oppressive humidity, but with a palpable, almost electric sense of anticipation. They were no longer simply exploring. They were actively following a tangible breadcrumb trail, left with deliberate intent by a long-lost people. The path led them steadily uphill, a slow but determined ascent, and the cacophony of the jungle sounds grew more muffled, replaced by the rhythmic crunch of their boots on the ancient forgotten stones. Every single step felt like a profound revelation, deepening the enigma and solidifying their growing belief that something truly extraordinary lay hidden just beyond their reach. After what felt like an eternity, days of relentless trekking along the winding stone path, they reached an abrupt, breathtaking end. Before them stood an immense, monolithic wall, seamlessly integrated with the natural rock face of a colossal cliff, utterly blanketed in centuries of thick moss and trailing vines. It was unmistakably man-made, yet on a scale Elias had never encountered in any documented archaeological site. The stones were perfectly cut, massive, irregular blocks fitted together with astonishing precision, devoid of any visible mortar, as if the very mountain itself had been meticulously carved. Elias ran his hand over the cool, damp surface, a potent mix of overwhelming awe and disbelief washing over him. This wasn't just a ruin. It was an engineering marvel, a silent testament to a civilization far more advanced than any previously imagined to have existed in the heart of the Amazon. As they meticulously examined the colossal wall, one of the local guides, a wise and stoic elder named Kayapo, pointed a gnarled finger towards a series of faint, almost imperceptible carvings hidden beneath a particularly tenacious patch of moss. These were not hieroglyphs in the traditional sense, but rather a sequence of stylized human figures in various, almost ritualistic poses, forming what looked undeniably like a warning. Kayapo, his voice low and solemn, explained what he understood of the ancient local legends associated with such symbols. The carvings, they tell of guardians, of a place not meant for the outside. The jungle protects, but also warns. His words, delivered with a quiet gravity, sent a profound chill down Elias's spine. The initial surge of triumphant excitement was now tempered by a growing, unsettling sense of unease. They had, without a doubt, found the grand entrance, but what truly lay beyond that formidable barrier? And what exactly were these guardians Kayapo spoke of? Not spirits, but something else entirely. The air grew heavy with unspoken questions, and a deep, pervasive sense of foreboding settled over the entire group, silencing their earlier exclamations of wonder. Locating an actual entrance within the monolithic, seemingly impenetrable wall proved to be their most formidable challenge yet. They spent exhaustive days meticulously examining every single inch of the colossal structure, searching desperately for a seam, a hidden mechanism, anything that would betray the presence of a passage. The oppressive jungle pressed in on them from all sides, its myriad sounds amplified by their growing frustration and diminishing hope. Their precious rations were rapidly dwindling, and the relentless combination of mental strain and physical exhaustion began to take its inevitable toll. Tensions within the small group flared, sharp words were exchanged, and doubt, a persistent and insidious mosquito, began to bite relentlessly at Elias's unwavering resolve. Isabella, however, remained remarkably focused, her sharp eyes scanning the wall with relentless determination, unyielding in her pursuit. She eventually noticed a subtle discoloration, a barely perceptible difference in the texture of the stone in one particular section, almost invisible to the untrained eye. It was a perfectly camouflaged seam, a masterwork of ancient engineering designed to blend flawlessly with the natural rock. With a combination of delicate probing and careful removal of the surrounding tenacious overgrowth, they finally uncovered a cleverly hidden lever, ingeniously concealed within the stone. As Elias, his heart pounding, pulled the lever, a low, ominous grinding sound echoed through the silent, watchful jungle. Slowly, agonizingly, a section of the massive wall began to recede, revealing a dark, cavernous opening. A gust of cool, stale air, carrying the faint, earthy scent of ancient dust, and something profoundly old, wafted out from the depths. It was a moment of profound triumph, a culmination of years of relentless pursuit, but also one of deep, unsettling apprehension. Beyond that dark threshold lay the true unknown, the terrifying and exhilarating culmination of Elias's lifelong quest. The air crackled with a palpable mix of anticipation and profound fear, as if the very jungle itself held its breath, waiting to see what secrets would be disturbed. You're almost at the heart of the mystery of Eldoria. Don't let the journey end here. Subscribe to our channel to make sure you don't miss a single breathtaking moment of this incredible discovery. Stepping through the newly revealed cavernous entrance was like walking through a portal into another untouched world. The air inside was cool, still, and remarkably dry, utterly devoid of the jungle's oppressive, suffocating humidity. The beams of their headlamps, cutting through the absolute primordial darkness, slowly illuminated an astonishing sight. Not a crude cave, but a perfectly preserved, vast subterranean city. Buildings, remarkably intact and showing no signs of decay, rose majestically from the cavern floor. Their architecture was unlike anything Elias had ever seen, documented in any historical record. Elegant, almost futuristic in its geometric precision, and clearly designed with an innate understanding of subterranean existence. Intricate, detailed carvings adorned the walls, depicting vivid scenes of daily life, sophisticated agricultural practices, and what appeared to be complex celestial observations, hinting at a profound astronomical knowledge. Dust motes, disturbed by their cautious breaths, danced like tiny stars in the powerful beams of their lights, disturbing millennia of undisturbed air. The silence within the city was profound, an almost sacred stillness, broken only by their hushed breaths and the soft, reverent crunch of their boots on the ancient, meticulously tiled floors. It was a ghost city, a perfectly preserved time capsule, frozen in an instant of time. The sheer scale of the city and its unbelievable level of preservation were breathtaking, almost overwhelming. Elias felt an overwhelming sense of humility and profound awe. This wasn't just a discovery, it was a revelation, a complete paradigm shift in his understanding of ancient civilizations in the Americas. He vividly imagined the lives lived here, the countless stories untold, the vast knowledge lost to the ages. Isabella, usually so composed and pragmatic, gasped softly, her hand instinctively reaching out to gently touch a carved pillar, as if to physically confirm the unbelievable reality before her eyes. They had found Eldoria not as a crumbling ruin, but as a perfectly preserved, awe-inspiring testament to a lost, forgotten civilization. As they ventured deeper into the meticulously preserved city, the initial rush of overwhelming awe began to slowly give way to a growing, unsettling sense of unease. They discovered what appeared to be vast communal living spaces, intricate workshops filled with remarkably preserved tools crafted from unknown materials, and even what seemed to be expansive libraries containing countless scrolls written in an enigmatic, unknown script. The level of preservation continued to astound them, hinting at an instantaneous, perhaps catastrophic end to this magnificent civilization. However, their enthralling exploration was abruptly cut short when they inadvertently activated a series of sophisticated defensive mechanisms, not magical in nature, but rather ingenious mechanical traps and automated safeguards, clearly designed with a singular purpose: to protect the city and its secrets from intruders. These, Elias realized with a chilling certainty, were the guardians Kayapo had spoken of, not ethereal spirits, but tangible, physical barriers. One of the local guides, unfortunately, was injured, caught in a cleverly concealed falling net, forcing them to confront the immediate danger head-on. The traps were incredibly sophisticated, requiring not just careful navigation, but also quick thinking and an understanding of ancient engineering. It became increasingly clear that the city was not simply abandoned, it was actively and intentionally protected. The ancient inhabitants had clearly intended for their knowledge and their existence to remain hidden, untouched by the outside world. Elias now faced a profound dilemma, a harrowing choice that weighed heavily on his conscience. Should he push deeper, risking the lives of his small team for the sake of further archaeological discovery, or should he retreat, preserving the lives of his companions but leaving the vast majority of Eldoria's immense secrets unrevealed? The conflict was deeply internal, a fierce battle raging between his lifelong academic ambition and his immediate moral responsibility to those who had trusted him. Isabella, sensing his profound struggle, gently placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder, her voice calm but firm. "Some knowledge," she wisely reminded him, "is perhaps best left undisturbed, Elias. What good is a discovery if no one survives to tell the tale, or if it causes more harm than good. The decision, though agonizing, was ultimately clear. Elias, prioritizing the lives and safety of his team above all else, chose to retreat. They meticulously documented what they could in the readily accessible areas, working quickly and efficiently. They took countless photographs, carefully sketched the intricate carvings and the unique architectural structures, ensuring they had irrefutable evidence of Eldoria's existence. They retrieved only a few small, durable artifacts, a handful of clay tablets inscribed with the mysterious, unknown script, a selection of simple but beautifully crafted tools, and a perfectly preserved, intricately designed ceramic vessel. These were enough to validate their incredible discovery to the skeptical outside world, but not so much that they desecrated the profound sanctity of the site. The journey back out, retracing their steps through the ancient defenses, was almost as perilous as their initial entry. They navigated the remaining traps with heightened caution, the wounded guide bravely enduring the discomfort and pain of the arduous trek. The return journey to Manaus was noticeably quieter, more reflective. The Amazon, which had initially seemed so hostile and indifferent, now felt like a silent accomplice, a wise ancient guardian of profound secrets. Elias felt a complex mix of triumph and a bittersweet, lingering regret. He had found Eldoria, confirmed its unbelievable existence, and brought back irrefutable proof that would undoubtedly reshape archaeological understanding. But he had also, crucially, left the vast majority of it untouched, preserved beneath the earth, a silent, majestic testament to a civilization that had clearly chosen to guard its legacy above all else. The academic world, and indeed the entire world, would soon be buzzing with the news of Eldoria's discovery. But its deepest, most profound mysteries would remain buried, perhaps forever, exactly as its ancient inhabitants had intended. This, Elias realized with a newfound clarity, was not a failure of his quest, but a testament to profound respect, to the humbling understanding that some stories are not meant to be fully told, only glimpsed and revered from a distance. His grueling journey had reached its physical end, but a new chapter in human history and in his own understanding of the world was about to begin. Thank you for joining us on this incredible adventure into the heart of the Amazon and the mysteries of Eldoria. If you were captivated by this story, please like this video, share it with your friends and fellow history enthusiasts, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel for more captivating stories, thrilling discoveries, and journeys into the unknown. Your support helps us bring these incredible narratives to life.